This is SFBarkast. I am Jeff Cleary.
I am Andrew Lauder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We are at the Vestry, which is located within a music venue called the Chapel.
On Valencia Street in the Mission.
In the heart of the Mission.
Yeah, and man, we're here on a Saturday, and
oh my God,
Jesus Christ, fucking like Valencia Street on a Saturday.
It looks like someone that doesn't know very much about millennials and tech culture and everything like that. Like, it looks like they cast a movie with extras, like, of what they think that would look like.
Yeah,
because it's just like, I mean, like, when I was walking here, there was literally a convertible full of guys in Hawaiian t-shirts and sunglasses, like, on their way to, like, Dolores Park.
Yeah, it's like on the weekend here. And of course we're here for like brunch, around brunch time, and
like a national holiday every week.
And this whole place is just like packed with like well-coiffed, rich young people.
Oh God! And like every block's got like a line halfway down the block to something that you should never wait in a halfway down the block line for, like chocolate or like a croissant.
I hate like walking down the street on a Saturday on Valencia because, first off, nobody's paying attention. Right. Nobody even shares the fucking sidewalk. People just like they're talking about whatever they're some
showing their
shit,
parents around or
and
whatever.
They're just like fucking running into you. The worst are like on the weekends. That's when you get all the baby strollers out.
Oh boy!
And oh my God, like just walking around this morning, it's just like somebody with a baby stroller. Just the concept of them moving over to share the sidewalk is just like an absurdity to them. It's like they will just plow right into you with their fucking baby stroller.
Well, there was some place, I think it might have been that pizza place like Farina or something like that. One of the sort of very fancy wood oven pizzerias that have opened in the last 10 years. And there was a couple sitting in front of it that probably in their 30s. But they had like 3 chihuahuas like sitting at the table with like literally like on the table. And like usually if I had seen that 10 years ago, I would have said, oh, I know where I am. I'm in Pacific Heights, or I'm in the marina. I'm where assholes are. But it's like now it's like right in the middle of the Mission.
It's like those people are like, you know what? I'm already annoying to people, but I need to get small dogs so I can really double down on my annoyance.
Yes, exactly.
The dogs that fucking like bark at every other dog. They're like a tenth of these other dogs' sizes, and they want to fight them.
You've heard me complain about the check, honey. It's not nearly as annoying as 3 chihuahuas barking. So let's get some of them.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, this place is in the chapel.
Right.
It's a part of the chapel. I'd never heard of the term vestry. I guess it's a part of a church.
It's like a church part. Like
is it the?
I think it's like the area, like sort of off of the main. Like I don't know. Like maybe that's where like.
Is that where the ass raping happens?
I was gonna say that's where the church bookie is. He's got like a bunch of like sports odds on boards.
But yeah, this place, the chapel, which is adjacent here, and you can actually see it from behind, right behind the bar. It's actually a really great space to see music.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, I guess
like the sound is perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does have that feeling where it's like an old converted church.
Right. Right.
It's like, yeah, this used to be a house of God. Now it's a house of shitty bands.
and Todd Berry. I'm trying to think of the I think I've like that seeing Todd Berry on his crowd work tour. Maybe the only time I've ever actually seen anything here, but there have been like a lot of bands come through here that
I've seen some great bands here.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, that's where the priest used to preach from, and now it's the U2 tribute band.
Well, I thought I read somewhere that like this actually it used to be the church part of a mortuary a long time ago.
Oh, really?
That's what it was originally built for. So like, not only like are they like bastardizing it with like rock and roll music, but like you have like people that were cremated in a place that like now serves food.
This place is probably haunted by the ghosts that haunt this place are probably just so over rock music.
Oh, okay. Well, they're so annoyed with like tech people at this point.
Right, exactly.
Like I remember the good old days when like worst that can happen was like some like Latino homeless guy pisses on the side of me, but now I'm like filled with assholes.
It's like I thought the pain would stop after I died.
Exactly.
Some some comic did a joke about growing up. He's like, I can't imagine like growing up in San Francisco, like being a kid here, you know, getting bullied, having like bullies like take your brunch money.
That's right. Steal your HBO Go password.
Like, you know, oh, you have these abusive family that doesn't really believe in your app.
Shit. Well, I want to say a big thanks to K-Mo, Kevin Montgomery, for filling in while I was on assignment.
You were on assignment in Columbia. How was that?
It was really great up until the very last day. Oh. And, funny story.
Did you take in any of the cuisine?
Actually, the food was actually very good there. I know what you're referring to, which is probably the Pablo Escobar special. But Medellin was actually really fascinating and stuff like that. But the last day we're in Cartagena, which is like on the beach and everything. And then we looked around and they're like, oh, there's these little like day trips you can take where it's like for what amounts to like $50. Like they'll take you on like an hour boat ride to an island in the Caribbean, and like you get to like
make you
hang out at this resort. Yeah, and shake you down for everything in your wallet. But we go out to this thing and it's cool. Like it's like a nice little beach, blue water. Like and you just hang out there for like maybe like 4 hours, and like have lunch, and they give you lunch and it's good and like all that shit. And the ride out there, like it was pretty smooth and fine. And so it comes time to go back, and it's like 2:30 in the afternoon or something. And by now, like the wind is like really picked up on the water. So like we're in like the Atlantic Ocean.
Getting choppy.
In basically what's like a speedboat that holds like 20 people. It's got like 2 outboard engines on it and one like crazy ex-Colombian naval guy like piloting it, who's probably drunk by now. And so like the guy was like telling us in Spanish or whatever like that when we get in the boat. He's just like, yeah, it's gonna be like blah blah blah. Like everybody hold on, like, and and I'm kind of like, that's hilarious, like, whatever. And like, I should interject into the story at this point. There was like this super super hot girl like that.
Okay, well,
go on.
That was one of my other questions that I have, but you can get to that. I was like, my impression of Colombian women is they all look like Sofia
and
what's her name?
To some extent, that's true. This girl happened to be from Brazil with her boyfriend, unfortunately. But like, or at least I assume.
Boyfriend?
I know, yeah. Well, I at least assume that she's from Brazil based on her Brazilian flag, like G-string and towel or whatever. But like, so she's just like, whatever, smoking hot. And so for this like ride back, I get seated like directly across from her. And she's just wearing like her swimsuit at this point because she like just hung out on the beach all day. And she looks like the brunette girl from like Blue is the Warmest Color, basically. She's just like off the charts, like smoking hot and probably a little young.
Were you able to keep it in your pants?
No, that's not how I broke my back, unfortunately. But like, and even like, even my wife is like turning into me because like the boat's like sort of like starting to like get through choppy water, and so like we're all bouncing all over the place, right? And my wife's just like, "Oh, you enjoying this?" Like, because it's like, it's like hard. I'm like, yeah, like, fuck yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm gonna give like like the boat driver like who seated her across from me like the rest of our money is tip, like just to let you know. And like those words like left my mouth, and like literally within like 5 seconds of that, like the boat like takes off of a wave, and like it's a good like 3-4 second hang, and then just like slams into the water, and my back immediately just goes like just I mean like it totally felt like somebody just hit good baseball bat like hit to the back. And like the thing is, like, this happens with like maybe 45 minutes left to go of this kind of like bashing up against up and down. So the whole time I'm like, I think I might be like half paralyzed now, but if I hit another good wave, I'm never walking again. Like, so it was just horrifying.
It's like, can I just go back to like drooling over this girl?
Exactly. It's like, hey, look, God. Like, I know you want to punish me for like ogling a 17-year-old girl, but like, you don't have to make it so immediate. Like, it's like you could have waited until I was on shore. But like, but yeah. So like, the rest of it was just like terrifying and awful. And
you
then
have
like and like ever since then, like it's just been like a nightmare of like.
Have you gone and got your back checked?
Like I'm going next week because like
You're like, no, of course not. Fuck that.
Well, I feel like backs are like one of those things where like even if it's the worst case scenario, they're gonna tell you like, yeah, but there's nothing we can do about it apart from like rip your back out of your body or whatever. But that never works. If Larry Bird still has a bad back, what chance do I have?
Yeah. What? Would you ever go to a chiropractor?
Oh, I have before.
Oh, yeah.
And like the weird thing about chiropractors is that it seems like almost everyone is different because there's like so little like I mean there is a certain amount of I guess legal like hoops you have to jump through, but like you can sort of call yourself a chiropractor if you do like 5 or 6 different things.
Oh, really? Because like a lot of people in the medical community consider those people to be quacks.
Oh yeah, totally.
But I know people who've gone to chiropractors and they swear by it, and it's like something that just like they do. It happens like really fast. Like my old friend Nick, we were driving around like the South Bay, and he's like, "I just got to run in here to see my chiropractor." I'm like, "Wait!" I was like, "Wait a minute, you got
to a drug deal?"
I was like, "Dude, you got to go to the doctor now?" I was like, "That's going to take a while. We got to get back to the office."
All right.
And he's like, "No, it doesn't." And he just like, I sat in the car. It literally
he's just in this van up here.
It literally took 5 minutes. Like, he went in and, like, he's like, yeah, this guy just cracks my back.
Like karate chop.
Yeah. And
he just has a line of people. It's like, punch him in the gut.
I actually met a girl in an airport once, and she was a chiropractor. And I was giving her the same speech, like, oh, are you guys for real, or is this bullshit? By the way, if you're trying to impress a girl, don't ask her if what she does for a living is bullshit.
Hey, you're giving career. That's bullshit, right?
Yeah. So she told me that she was like, let me put this in a way you can understand. She's like, after a party at your house and you're cleaning up, and you go to pick up like a can from the table and it sticks there a little bit, and then you have to put a little extra pressure on there and pull it off. That's what happens in between your spinal, like the vertebrae, and then all they're doing is just sort of separating that thing and then suddenly you can like move around. You have more flexibility and shit. And I'm like, oh, it sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, really. It's like, well, if any medical explanation that starts with, let's say you're cleaning up after a night of drinking.
Yeah, let's say you got blackout drunk, okay?
Let's say you piloted a plane by mistake, but you don't remember any of it. You still piloted the plane. Well, that's chiropractic.
Exactly.
What?
So this building, the Vestry, it used to be the home of the new college.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Which is, if you do a little bit of research on the new college, you will be astounded by what enormous scumbags they were who like ran it. Like the guy who started it, like he ended up, I think, like skipping town with like a bunch of money. But
what is this, like the 1880s? Like, is some snake oil salesman running out with his phony college?
Right. Well, you know what? I had a friend who taught at the new college, and she said that, like, yeah, it was really not run that well, and there was, like, one time where everybody's paycheck bounced, and they had to have, like, an emergency, like...
So they were just, like, sort of playing college, really.
Well, they had to have an emergency meeting with all the teachers, and the guy who was running it said, look, it was a clerical error. We're fixing it right now, but you people have to understand that this is a philosophy. This college is run by a philosophy, so...
Our philosophy is not to pay our bills.
Exactly. It's like he's basically saying some things come first and then you get paid, and like people are just like, what the fuck?
Excuse me.
Hard to believe that guy would like fucking take everybody's money and skip town.
I'm sure that worked for everybody when they turned around and told their landlord that. It's like, hey, I work for a different kind of company, so no rent this month.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like, wow, so this building's had a lot of, like, different faces. If it was, like, a mortuary, and then...
Sleazy school.
And
sleazy music venue. Pretty soon we'll be back to a sleazy Starbucks.
Yeah, it's probably, like, an upgrade from the new college, though. Like, no matter how many people are doing blow in the bathroom, it's still an upgrade from that fucking disaster.
God, speaking of which, I don't know if you've heard of, like, this company, Zenefits, that's, like, I think they're located in the Mission, actually.
Oh. Okay, go ahead. I didn't read the article. I saw the
I know somebody that used to work there, and like she can verify a lot of this. But like, their whole like company culture was basically like yeah, fuck it, we're all millennials. We're all in our 20s. Let's run like a HR company, and like like they had to send out company memos telling people to stop fucking in the bathrooms after hours and stop leaving their rubbers and beers everywhere and the whole thing is just like a joke come to life about and they even released this or I think SFS had this one of their corporate pictures Christmas card or whatever.
it's like horizontal.
Yeah, it's like Animal House, but But yeah, and it's you look at it and you're like, only millennials would be so self-absorbed that they wouldn't see that your whole company is looks like children. No one is going to want to use that company if they want anybody that knows what they're doing.
So is that the name of the company? It was
Zenefits. Yeah,
is that a
benefits
pun?
with a Z. No, I mean it's basically hey, everything's cooler with a Z, right?
It's it's we're really into Zen philosophy and fucking in the cubicles.
That's right. Have fun declaring bankruptcy.
So what else is going on? Do you have anything else to report from Colombia?
No, just that I was pretty blown away by it. It was I wasn't it's not that I wasn't on board. I wanted to go there, but it surprised me in a lot of ways. It's very up and coming. There's a lot of sort of good city ideas going on and stuff like that. But it's at the same time, it's 3-4 million people, and a lot of them are still living in really terrible poverty and
Oh, that's good.
And it's so it's some of it's a bit of a downer, but they seem to be on the rise.
Oh, all right. Well,
so recommended.
Did you have the coffee down there?
Yeah, and it was all right.
Yeah. Who's that guy that picks the coffee beans in Colombia?
Juan Valdez. And you know what? Basically, the Starbucks of Colombia is the Juan Valdez Cafe that exists everywhere. It's all over the place.
It's this multinational fucking conglomerate, but their narrative is that there's this one dude in the fucking hills just picking all the coffee beans.
It's no, I do it for free.
Exactly. This is just the love of my life.
Excellent.
Do you want to take a break?
Sure.
I got some
all kinds of shit going on, right?
There wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on in sports, but we'll try to extract a little bit of it when we come back.
Cool.
All right. This is SF and we're at the Vestry on Valencia Street. All right, and we are back at the Vestry. I forgot to tease this, Andrew, this is going to be our Oscar special.
Oh.
So we'll get to that in segment 3.
Yeah,
but a lot of people will. Tomorrow is the Oscars, so we'll give our predictions.
Sure. Or at least, I'll give what I'm able to. I think I've actually, probably seen more movies than I've usually seen by this point in Oscar season. But still, there's a few big ones that I have not seen.
Okay, save it for segment 3. Okay, because as everybody,
I don't want to spoil the suspense, but I don't know what I'm talking
about. That's what they call a tease. Right. So this is our segment 2, and as everybody knows, segment 2 is our sports section. And here's the sports report. Nothing's happening.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess the All-Star game happened.
Yeah, but that was ridiculous. Can you believe that they actually take bets in Vegas on the All-Star game?
Really? That's crazy.
And the over-under was something like 320, and they
shattered it?
Blew it away. The West had 192 points. Nobody's playing fucking defense.
Right.
If you were in Vegas, why wouldn't you put $1,000 on the over, even though it's ridiculously high?
I saw a picture from the game, and the referee was doing a better job of guarding Curry than Dwayne Wade was. Dwayne Wade was flat-footed, with half an arm stretched out.
And they're just dicking around. They're throwing the ball underhand to each other and just fucking.
It's like the Harlem Globetrotters without the thrilling competition of the Washington Generals.
So there's one little. Here's some developments in sports.
Right.
Baseball recently.
Which is apparently still a sport.
Which apparently is still a sport. The most Republican of all sports.
Probably.
It's baseball is just you get these old jackasses.
George Will.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful sport if you like seeing rednecks and Caribbean guys mix it up.
Well, who doesn't?
So in baseball, they got rid of the neighborhood rule. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
Okay, so basically, if someone's trying to turn a double play,
you gotta ask them what neighborhood they're from.
Say the second baseman gets the ball and he's going to throw it to the shortstop so he can go to the double play. The shortstop doesn't actually have to touch the base. He can be in the neighborhood of the base, and that way he can avoid the runner coming into second, so there's not as many collisions. So they recently got rid of the neighborhood rule, so now they have to touch the base, which I didn't know that didn't have to touch the base in the first place.
Yeah, really.
It's like touch the fucking base. But I guess
that's so hard.
But I guess it's like they're trying to. Well, the neighborhood rule was trying to avoid injuries, but they're like, fuck that, let's have more injuries.
Yeah.
So,
what we need to focus on is a quicker way to get the injured people off the field.
By the way, that's one of the mythologies I really hate about baseball. It's that, like, the game has always been the same, like, forever. It's like, dude, last week, games changed from last week.
Yeah.
Okay? And, like, way back in the day, you could step on the plate if you were in the batter's box.
Right.
And
if you were Ty Cobb, you could call everyone the N-word.
Yeah, like, back in the day, black people couldn't play baseball. Right. It's like, oh, yeah, the game is so
But the rules have never changed.
Yeah. Or it's like way back in the day, if it's like ground rule double, they count that as a home run.
Right.
So it's like one of these. I recently got into a fight with this friend of mine, and I was at a bar, and we started talking about baseball.
Right.
And he's a Giants fan, and I was like, look, I gotta keep my voice down when I tell you this. But, like, I was like, man, like, those announcers for the Giants, Krupp and Kite, I think they're fucking the worst in the world. Like, I just hate those guys. And he's like, really, what's the problem with them? And I was like, well, first off, people, like, if you don't absolutely adore those two guys in San Francisco, people lose their mind. And then he proceeded to lose his mind on me. And, like, next thing you know, we're yelling at each other in the bar. And the bartender had to come by and be like, hey, am I going to have to separate the two of you?
This is another Comcast Sports Bay Area related argument.
Dude, well, the thing is, like, my take is that, you know, like, anything I said, I was like, look, I think that they're not that insightful. And they're just, like, one of those guys is just a total blowhard. Like, you know, he's always, like, explaining how to play the game, how to, like, the strategy of playing the game. And it's like, yeah, that probably was the strategy 40 years ago when you sucked at playing baseball. But, like that's part of, like, that mythology where it's like, oh, baseball never changes.
Right.
You know, it's like, no, like, I'm sure there's been.
Except Barry Bonds is, like, capsize and, like, entire eras where everybody was either, like, coked up or, like, you know, pitching no-hitters on acid. But other than that, it's always the same.
Well, it's another thing with those two guys where it's like, you get this in every, like, announcer, but those guys are just so unrepentant homers. You know, never said anything bad about Bonds when he was, like, clearly, he was, like, shot up with more steroids than a fucking hamburger.
Yeah. Charging Bronco coming out to the plate and no one's alarmed.
So, whatever, like, but here's one of my things I was saying is that even though I can't stand those two blowhards, I actually consider John Miller the best baseball announcer.
Yeah, sure.
Now.
Just his voice
what's
alone.
up, man?
Hey, either of you guys riding a motorcycle?
No.
That was weird.
Right? That seemed like one of those things where if we said yes, he would immediately punch us in the face.
Oh, why did they come over to us? Like, some dude just, like, came over to us and goes, hey, either you guys ride a motorcycle? I'm like, no. I think he's selling something. I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, they're unrepentant.
Your orangutans tearing everything back up. Like, suddenly we're in the plot of Every Which Way But Loose.
Anyway, so John Miller, who sometimes does Giants games, I consider him to be even better than Vin Scully. Which, if people are listening from L.A., they'll want to kill me too.
Probably.
I mean, is there any other thing where it's like you get all bent out of shape if somebody doesn't like your announcer? Like, somebody said, like, they didn't like the Red Sox announcer. I'd be like, who cares? Do you have an opinion on that?
Right. Well, I'm sure there's, like, Cubs fans where if you said, you know what, like, if fucking Harry Carey was like a mumble-mouthed old drunk, they'd be like, I'll kill you.
Speaking of Harry Carey and the Cubs have been installed in Vegas as a 4-1 favorite to win the World Series.
That's ridiculous.
I know. So the first time in 110 years.
Yeah.
1906. Yeah.
I'll take the short game on that or whatever.
If you were a Cubs fan, would you like that, or would you be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Oh, I think that, it would be like, get the spotlight off of us because it can only ruin our chances. Like, I almost think that, like, one of the reasons they didn't win it last year was because, like, they just got far enough to where, like, they got a little freaked out that, like, oh, holy shit, like this is a big fucking deal, and, like, people are going to go, bananas ape shit, like, as soon as, like, we even get close.
I kind of hope they do it at some point. Like, I mean, I like Joe Madden.
Yeah, totally.
He's the greatest, like, most personality-driven coach in the majors.
Like, the only one that's not, like, just a, utter personality void.
He like rides his bike to the game.
Right.
He's wearing those hipster glasses. He listens to Neutral Milk Hotel.
Right.
But yeah, and also if the Cubs were to win, that would be like Theo Epstein.
Yeah,
he's like the GM, and he's the guy who brought the championship back to Boston after since 1918, and then if he did it for the Cubs, they'll put a statue up of him.
Yeah, let's rename the Hall of Fame for him.
Yeah, they'll name streets in fucking Chicago after him.
A lot of confused Welcome Back Cotter fans will try to go to the Epstein Hall of Fame. Be like, this is not what I was promised.
This is not the Puerto Rican Jew. Okay, one other controversy in sports.
Yeah, what's up?
There seems to be a college basketball controversy about court storming. So if anyone doesn't know, court storming is when a home team beats a highly ranked team,
right?
And then all the crazy...
And all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Then you just go goddamn nuts.
All the crazy, drunk, high on ketamine college students storm the court.
Right.
And after an Arizona game at Colorado, which is in Boulder, which if you've ever been to Boulder, it's just like a bunch of young drunk people.
Yeah. Well, and now a bunch of drunk and really high people.
Yeah. And so after one of those games, when Colorado won, they stormed the court, and the coach of Arizona, Sean Miller, he said, this is what's going to happen if they don't stop people from storming the court. Some Arizona player is going to punch a student in self-defense.
Right.
And then that's only after then will people start to think about does court storming. But his whole assumption is, wait a minute, like you can't teach your fucking players not to fucking slug someone.
Your whip and share not work as well as you'd hoped, and they're rebelling.
Also, he's saying oh yeah, he's gonna defend himself in self-defense. It's like, dude, these are drunk kids. It's like, oh my God! It's not like they win the game.
They're wild cats or something like that, where it's like the player will think that you're. They'll let you pet it for a while, but then they'll just turn on you.
Well, Arizona is they are the Wildcats.
Yeah, there we
go. But it's like the kids in the stands are like, we won the game. Let's go fuck with those players.
I know, that would be the thing. Is if this had come close to happening once, it would have happened by now, but it hasn't. No one. I mean, I'm sure there's people that have been pushed to the ground or caught up in a swarm of people or something like that, and you get jostled around for a bit. But I've never heard of a player being injured or confronted even by those people just want to run around and go yay.
Dude, what is the fucking problem? It's it's like the opposite of a fucking riot or
right.
It's everybody's happy. Nobody's pissed off. It's all these joyful.
Hey, we won the game. Let's go kill those motherfuckers.
Right, exactly. It's
what?
Everybody's just if I was a player I would want to be right in the middle of that court storming.
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, look at this. This is great. It's like it's like a rave that doesn't suck.
Exactly. I mean, people will point to people that win championships and then go burn down cars in the city, but that's like burning cars out of fun. They're not they're not burning cars with people in them.
I mean, I do agree that that is kind of weird when when the Giants won their first World Series here. Well, people are just
let's torch muni-buses.
Yeah, now it's burn shit.
Right.
Although if you
you know what, if I were in San Francisco and I was feeling this euphoria of everything's great, I would assume that it's okay to set fire to muni buses because it's we'll replace them with something better.
if you if you owned like a mattress like place, wouldn't you just have like a blowout right before like somebody wins the championship? All our mattresses are on sale.
Or you collect like, since it's like illegal to like, isn't it like illegal to throw out a mattress or something like that, or like to resell it? And like,
wait, why is it illegal?
I think it's like because of bed bugs or germs or something
Wait a
like
minute.
that.
Can you get bed bugs from a mattress? You can if there's a hooker on it.
But like, so you just like, if you're like a mattress place, you just you hold on to all of these like used mattresses that nobody wants, and then as soon as your sports team wins a championship, you just dump them all in the street.
Exactly. Everyone just take one mattress, leave a mattress.
You just like drive around the street like Johnny Appleseed throwing mattresses around.
And also, like, one of the things that in the national sports media, like Dan Patrick and all these, like, ESPN guys, they're just going crazy. Like, they're all, like Tony Kornheiser is one of these guys who's just like, oh, he's so afraid that someone's going to get hurt. It's like, listen, old man, stop the whole get off my lawn bullshit. Like, maybe you're too old to remember having fun as, like, a college student, but just, like, let him go. Let him have a fucking...
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you've essentially got two sports like basketball and hockey where like the fans are super close, and like hockey's like, yeah, we have to put like a piece of like plexiglass here, otherwise like the guys will go like into the crowd and kill everybody, and like and vice versa. And like if basketball wants to do that, they totally can, but like it would be terrible because like you'd have this like glass like wall around the players.
That would just be horrible because that's basically putting up a glass like that. It's just like then it's like the sport itself saying to the fans, "We know you're all animals."
Right. They have little holes where you can like feed them, like push like pellets through. Like,
we appreciate you buying tickets, but we're going to treat you like caged fucking animals.
That's right. If you want to. If you want to hang out with the high school players, they're in the petting zoo, and they're not quite as like militarized yet.
But also, like, that's well, whatever. I just like I love watching court storming. I watched the Vanderbilt beat Kentucky this morning or this afternoon. And,
was it in Vanderbilt?
In Vanderbilt in Nashville.
Did they have to go up the stairs to the court?
I know it's
a weird court, right?
It's a really weird court, because actually the teams are on the far sides of the court, like the bench.
Right, yeah.
And then so like all the students just like come on down and like they stormed the court and it was great, But like even like leading up to it, the announcers are like, oh, like they better get some security. It's like, what the fuck? Like, first off, if you're worried about the players,
give me some snipers. I want these people taken out before they have a chance to like touch anybody.
Right. If you're really worried about the players, you can easily get them into the locker room, even like with 10 seconds to go. Right. You could have them leave the floor because of the imminent threat of bodily harm from all these like really ecstatic like students. Yeah, that liberal arts major is gonna fucking kill you.
That's right.
So
bust a cap in his ass.
So, you could easily get them out of there. And, like, you could have security just escort all the players off and then let the kids go bananas, But, like, they make it seem like it's like, going to be, like, this Holocaust on the court.
I think they should just, like, as soon as it's apparent that they're about to, like, storm the court, like, give all the players automatic weapons. just like, hold your fort. Like, don't let anybody near you and fire. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes.
Right after a game, it's like it just becomes Braveheart in here.
Hand them all machetes to get hack their way out.
I don't think I have any other baseball baseball's coming up. A lot of people get really excited for baseball. Here's the reason why baseball is like such a boring sport. I think good baseball, like playoff baseball, is great.
Yeah.
It's actually it's great when there's a lot on the line.
Yeah.
Mediocre baseball is shit.
Oh god. Yeah.
And fucking bad baseball is a
sub shit.
It's just sub shit. Right, exactly.
Shit wishes it could be like
subterranean shit.
Fossilized it looks shit. Up at shit and it says, "Wow, that probably smells and looks great," because this sub shit is the worst.
But people get like so excited for baseball. But man, like if your team goes to the World Series, it's 9 months. Like you could have a fucking kid. You could make a baby.
Right. You
can
create life like a goddamn god.
But like And also, I think one of the reasons why baseball like has like this sort of like real romanticism in some people's minds is that it starts in the spring. So especially if you're in a city where they have like really profound winters.
Right.
Like, when you're coming out of that winter in the spring, it's like you get this wellspring of optimism. You're like, oh shit, we're all gonna live. Or it's like, oh man, like I thought I was like this close to killing myself. And like
everything's not gonna look like salt covered in shit for the rest of my life.
And then, like, baseball shows up, and you're like, oh, yeah, this reminds me of, like, how everything's going to get better. It's going to be warm soon.
When my dad used to care and play catch with me.
And so, like, it has the most advantageous, like, season.
Yeah.
And then, although the problem is it's way too long, because, like, yeah, if you go to the World Series and you're in Boston or New York or, like, Minneapolis, it's like it's going to be cold. It's, like, ends in, it's going to be ending like November.
I mean, they've gotten into this, like, they've expanded the season so much and, like, added, like, all, playoff games and all that stuff. So it's like season usually starts, like, April 1st, right? Like, and so.
April Fools.
Like, but on the East Coast, like, you get, like, a snowstorm, like, every once in a while after April 1st.
Yeah.
And so, like, and certainly you get rain and stuff like that. So it's like. So it's like you got about a month where like a lot of games will probably get canceled, and then if you go into like late October, it's the same thing. Like so, it's like and it's dark now at like 5 in the afternoon, and like the whole thing is just like it's predicated on there being good weather, but they're so greedy that they want this like 10-month long season. It's like you can't do that.
It's great seeing some of these Caribbean guys play for like Boston or Minneapolis in the beginning of the season. They're from the DR, right?
Right.
And they're like, wait a minute, it's fucking snowing?
It's like, I've never even seen snow.
So there you go. Any predictions for baseball?
I say there's a 4-1 chance that the Cubs will win the World Series.
You seem like you know what you're talking about.
I think so.
I have no predictions.
I think the Mariners will be underwhelming again because they have been every year of my entire fucking life.
Basketball, the Warriors are just chugging along. I heard an interview with Draymond Green the other day, and he was really not that interesting. He's a great player, but it was just kind of really boring. I think maybe he was hungover or something because like he just clearly did not like everything Dan Patrick asked him. He's like, "What's the last movie you saw?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." It's like
the funny thing is like I feel the same way sort of about Klay Thompson.
Really?
Like. For a guy that, like, every time I see him, I'm like, that guy's fucking great. That guy's got a pure shot. That guy's amazing. Like, now he's scoring 37 points. Now he's doing it. And, like, he does all that. And, like, 9 times out of 10 when I tune into a Warriors game or something like that, I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about Klay Thompson. I forgot that he existed. Because he's, like, so quiet and, like, sort of, like, does his job. And, like, like, he's everything you sort of want out of a player. But at the same time, it's, like.
Not very dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, like. He's probably like the second or third best shooter of all time. And like people will probably forget his name in like a top 20 in like 10 years because he like played alongside the very best that ever lived. It's like there
was some controversy on ESPN today about some people in the league are complaining the Warriors they get away with a lot of moving picks.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think it's Bogut who was like, if you really think the reason why Steph Curry scoring 50 points.
Right.
It's because of moving picks. It's like, look, he's going to get his points no matter whether we lay a pick for him or not.
Right.
It's like that's not going to stop the Warriors from scoring.
Like when you can score by like tossing it like backwards over your head from full court, like there's not really a very efficient way of guarding you no matter what you do.
I mean, maybe that's just like a sign that like the rest of the league is just like so fucking had it with the Warriors being so good. They're like, we have to fucking like fabricate some like controversy. Or maybe they're letting air out of the basketballs.
That's right. Well, maybe Tom Brady's involved.
Yeah,
that's for sure. He's from Santa Clara, right?
He's from San Mateo.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break.
Sure.
I think we covered all the sports we can.
I suppose we have.
All right, this is SFBarkast, and we're at the Vestry. All right, and we are back at the Vestry. Dude, you know what? During the break, or this other patron of the bar came over.
Some hoser.
And like, yeah, this gozer, and he explained like you're a huge Strange Brew fan,
Right, as are you.
yeah, exactly, and
Don't put it all on me.
and, like, it's all your fault, Andrew. But he explained to us what a hoser is, because like in
Yeah,
that movie, hey, take off hoser, you know, and
Insult du jour.
I just thought it was like, oh, it's some dumb guy, but he's Canadian. And he was
Right.
like saying that like in before Zambonis, they like when the
Hired like losers to come like
yeah.
hose down the thing with like
hose
hoses.
down the ice,
Yeah.
you know, and those were hosers. So I guess it's like, yeah, I thought it was like a variation on a loser.
It'd be like if we based an entire insult around like greenskeeping. It'd be like,
Oh yeah, you lawnmower.
I guess that kind of works.
By the way, okay.
Now
so,
they have to explain what, or we have to get him to explain what horking means, because he's like that guy horked our clothes.
well, I think by context clues, we know it means stealing.
And I want to.
Who would want to hork our clothes?
And I want to find out whether what's his name, Rosie, is a real guy.
And can you really use beer for mind control?
That's right. So, what were the inaccuracies, if anything, in that documentary called Strange Brew?
Oh, we should ask them. Like, oh yeah, please explain time code. For the benefit of the court.
Hey, Clark.
Okay, so here's during the break, I was like walking around, and here's like kind of like, you know, we were talking about how this bar is, you know, sort of new mission.
Yeah.
Where it's like a bunch of like young, well-to-do,
Right.
good-looking.
Let's just call it the shitty mission.
Right, exactly. This is the new mission, basically. So, on one of the posters they have up here, they have this Sinners Happy Hour at the Vestry, and it's Tuesday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. So, at the happy hour, you can get the discounted price of $6 beers.
Wow.
And
Good for them.
and $9 cocktails.
Like, I was actually. It's funny because like I got like a round earlier, and like it's amazing that I can sort of like basically not, you know, bat an eye or like, you know, or think that it's like criminal to like order 2 beers and throw a 20 at the guy and like keep $1 for myself.
Oh my God!
It's just like, that's hideous. Like, yeah, I just dropped $20 on 2 beers.
Right.
Like,
Something that would seem absolutely ludicrous or insane in
Right.
another city. Like, there's this moment where I bought 2 beers, gave him a $20 bill, and the guy looked at me and said, thanks. And then I turned around, and I was like, am I just going to look like a dick here waiting for my change when there's no
waiting
change?
for my what must be $17 or $18 worth of change.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that's the new mission. You know,
Right.
like that happy hour, $6 cocktails, $9 cocktails, $6 beers. That doesn't sound too happy.
No, I
Sounds
mean,
pretty
like,
sad.
Well, I mean, it sounds like someplace that has to charge a fuck-diculous amount, like in order to, you know, maintain their rent, and like, yeah. Obviously, they can't make make enough money just as a rock venue.
By the way, I love the fact that like when you're here at the Vestry, like you can hear the band who's playing tonight doing a sound check
Oh yeah,
on the other side of the bar.
yeah.
But it's just like, you know, someone hitting a drum and then someone like doing like bass riffs.
Right.
So it's like, wait, what's the band tonight? Is it Bass Fest?
Well, it's like how much could the settings change between like like you guys aren't exactly like reinventing rock and roll, probably. I'm just guessing.
All right, before we get to the Oscars, somebody asked me a very weird question last night, and don't even ask for any of the context, okay? But somebody asked me if you had to do a drag show. So you
Right.
had
You had to do, as in perform or go to one.
no, as in perform. If you
Okay.
had to do a drag show, so basically you have to dress up as a member of the opposite sex
Right.
and do a show, who would you
Oh,
do a drag
who
show
would be
on?
my muse?
Yeah.
Or like who would I emulate?
Yeah, that's a hard
Wow.
one. Like, let me you
Yeah,
can
okay.
think about it. Like, I was like, it took
Please.
me about 5 minutes. I was like, yeah, probably PJ Harvey. You know,
Wow. I like it as a concept. I like it a lot.
It's because sometimes I listen to PJ Harvey songs and I'm like, oh man, I'll never sound like her because she's got such a unique voice, and also she's like so unique. Here's the number of people who are like PJ Harvey in the world. None. Just her, PJ Harvey.
Right.
There's some people
and coming soon, Jeff Cleary.
Yeah.
will be just like PJ Harvey.
But it's like, yeah, like sometimes you see actors and you're like, okay, Timothy Olyphant and Josh Duhamel. I'm sorry, you're the same fucking person. Right. But PJ Harvey is only one of her.
Can my drag personality be Josh Duhamel?
Josh Duhamel, like he was on the Dan Patrick Show and.
Was it just dead air? Like it was like, I swear, I thought he was interviewing somebody, but like,
well, he was talking about, he's married to Fergie, and they had.
Really, I had no idea.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What a boring couple.
And Patrick is like, well, he's like, oh, did you have a kid? Did you guys have a child? And they're like, oh yeah, we just had a kid. And he's like, yeah, because we were trying to have a kid for a while. And Dan Patrick's like, don't say that, because basically if you're saying, yeah, me and my super hot wife, we're trying to have a kid, it's like, okay, I get it, you're fucking all the time, all right? That's why is it okay to people say, yeah, we're trying to have a kid? It's like, oh, gee, every waking moment I'm fucking her.
That's funny because I for some reason I didn't even process the sex part of it, so I thought that Dan Patrick was just annoyed by his story of his wife's infertility or something like that, where it's we're really going through this hard time. Oh, don't. Oh, that's not why we brought you here.
Jesus
just
Christ.
Talk about your movie.
This is just talk about the movie and leave.
This isn't therapy. I don't want to hear about your problems.
All right, so speaking of talking about the movies, are you ready for our Oscar
people with
preview?
Problems?
Here's the thing: the Oscars are tomorrow night,
Yeah.
the odds-on favorite is The Revenant to win. And so I was going to try to see the movie before tomorrow night, just so I know what fucking people are talking about.
Did you not succeed?
I have not seen it.
Oh.
So here are the movies that are up for Best Picture: Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, that movie that doesn't seem to be about Brooklyn and has an Irish girl in it.
Is it about Brooklyn Decker? I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Room, which I saw. Room, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. I heard the less I know about it, the better, probably. As far as there's.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I won't tell you about how the alien, how Danny Glover kills the alien in the end.
Oh my God! Oh wait, you're thinking of Ridley Scott.
The Big Short.
The Big Short, which I think Bill Simmons seems to think that it's creeping up or something, but I don't give
Big
him
Short, the worst Martin Short movie ever.
Probably. Well, I don't know. Gone Fishing. With Danny Glover. That was pretty bad. Speaking of killing the predator.
The Martian.
The Martian. Not a fan.
I saw the guy who wrote The Martian at Sketchfest, and he was so fucking awful.
Yeah.
He was
boring.
So boring.
Because that's the thing about the movie. I think Pete Holmes or somebody was pointing out that movie should be called Everything's Fine and Resolved, because there's literally no tension in the whole movie. It's within 5 minutes of him discovering any problem, he's like, oh, I figured out I can grow vegetables in my own shit. It's who cares then?
Great. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Because
everything works out. Good.
Here's the thing, the only reason why it's interesting is because he's doing it on Mars.
Right.
If you had a movie about someone making vegetables from their shit on Earth, people would be like, I'm not going to see that movie.
Oh, then it's a tragedy.
So The Martian, and also one of the things I had against The Martian is that the humor in it is just got a little too when they first started doing the jokes.
Disco sucks.
When they first started doing the jokes,
yeah,
it was kind of cute. But then they just kept fucking
hammering
doing these
it.
horrible jokes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, fuck. And then when I saw the guy who wrote it in live, he was at a Sketchfest show.
Is it with the Bill Nye Star Talk thing?
Bill Nye, who sucks. And, yeah. It was Star Talk.
Yeah.
So without, Neil deGrasse Tyson wasn't there, so Bill Nye fills in to the best of his ability, which is shit. And so, this guy who wrote The Martian, not only are the jokes in the movie hokey, but in real life, he tells all these horrible jokes, and it's so self-amused. He actually, at one point, they were talking about going to Mars, and he goes, "Don't they have an app for that?" And he's like, oh.
He's like, pause 20 seconds for laughter and standing ovation.
Hey, 2002 call. They want their joke back.
Right.
So, okay, The Martian, Spotlight. Spotlight's probably the best movie about undercovering teenage rape.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, well, in that genre.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the best mainstream movie.
The Revenant.
The Revenant, indeed.
Mad Max.
A great movie about getting raped by a bear.
Don't spoil it for me, okay?
Sorry.
I haven't seen it.
That happens very early on. And then the rest of the movie is just him kind of going like, wow, I got raped by that bear, huh?
Mad Max Fury Road, which I'm glad that movie got nominated.
Yeah, ordinarily it probably like a movie like that probably wouldn't, but it's such a powerful goddamn movie that they had to sort of.
But here's the thing. The leading up to the Oscars, I am fucking amazed how many people think that that's like the best movie of the year. And I'm just like, I thought it was a good movie.
Oh yeah.
But like it's just no way it's the best movie of the year. First off, it's like this totally self-indulgent like car chase, which is exactly what you want.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, and somebody described it as like one of the best movies ever made that doesn't have a plot at all.
Yeah.
it's like yeah, fair enough.
Somebody said to me that they didn't like how it ended, and I was like, wait, how did it end? Because I can't remember shit. I was like,
wait, did the blue bitch come back on a flying hair dragon and like kill everybody? Or
dude, this is what I remember about the movie. There's a fucking guy playing bass that shoots fire from it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you're like, end of list.
There's a bunch of like Vestral virgins,
right?
Like running around.
There's a bunch of like shots of like of what's his nuts. Tom Hardy with like a grill pressed up against his nose where he's really angry, like where he's like, oh, like this is sand in my eye, like that kind of stuff.
Like Tom Hardy is a badass. That's what I remember.
Sure.
The kid from About a Boy can like sprays his face with
right.
Before all those guys die,
yeah.
Before they like basically commit suicide for the cause,
right?
They spray their mouth with silver paint, so it looks like they just blew RoboCop.
Right. And I'm sure it's like sort of a huffing thing as well, where it's like, hey, I don't feel any pain because I got like a lungs full of spray paint.
I would like to thank Danny McBride and Eastbound and Down for that joke.
That's my kid. See,
here's the last thing I learned about that movie is Charlize Theron is so fucking hot that even if you cut all of her hair off and her arm off, she's still smoking hot.
Well, I would hope that Monster taught you that, where you're like, well, that's what a terrible human being, but I'm gonna fucking give that a ride.
I mean,
give that a shot.
It's like
as the boat slams into the wave. Ah!
I wonder if they were like, Charlize, we need to make you look a little bit more rugged.
No.
So can you cut your hair off? And they cut her hair off, and they're like, wow, she's still really getting it done. Do you mind if we cut your arm off?
What if we just beat the shit out of you? like what if we just black and blue you up really good?
All right,
nope, still good.
And the last movie that is nominated for Best Picture, Bridge of Spies.
Oh, did I tell you I saw that? And I was like, that movie was so tedious. I can't even believe it.
I cannot believe that they nominated that picture. The only reason why they nominated it is because Spielberg made it.
Yeah.
It is so boring.
It is.
It is Bridge of shit. It really is.
It is Bridge of predictable things.
Oh my God! Like I said before, here's in any movie, they go, okay, they kind of lay out how things are supposed to go, and then something goes haywire, right?
Yeah.
In this movie, nothing goes haywire. they
go
go
like Bridge as planned.
Right, exactly. It's like there's at no point you're like, well, I didn't see that coming. It's like, oh, I saw that coming because they told us it was gonna happen 10 minutes into the movie.
I sort of kept wondering too, so where are the spies? I mean, I guess that's what they're supposed to be swapping, but at the same time, it's just there's no actual spying going on. So you're robbed of the experience of part of the title, where you're like, ooh, I hope they show people doing spy things. Oh no, they just show them being swapped.
There's something inherently cool and exciting about spies. There's a whole genre of spy movies. But this flies in the face of that assumption that something's cool and exciting about spies. Because There's nothing cool, nothing exciting in this movie about spies.
No, I mean, they mistake the success of James Bond for oh, well, then people really like like movies about what spies actually do, which is just paperwork and like bullshit.
The working title was Boring James Bond.
That's right.
All right, here we go.
No Edge James Bond.
We'll try to burn through these. Best actor, Eddie Redmayne for The Danish Girl.
Whatever.
I haven't seen it, but
I'm sure he's fine. Like I can't motivate myself to watch that movie in the least.
Well, if you're I can't motivate myself to watch.
I sort of force myself to watch the Hello, how are you? Like that guy, Stephen Hawking movie.
Yeah.
And that was good. It was a good payoff. I enjoyed it. It was fine. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I need a little bit more from him other than just like wow, can you do that? Like,
I probably will not ever see that movie because I don't think there's ever going to be a night in my life where I'm like, I wonder what Stephen Hawking would look like in drag. I mean, but if you have,
you're the only one.
But if you have that, like desire,
if you wake up with that particular stick up your ass one morning,
Guess what? They made a movie just for you and your sick fucking self.
You wake up with that ridiculous itch. Go ahead and scratch it.
Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs.
Totally undeserved. I love him as an actor. I think that was a shit movie and a shit performance.
You saw it.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it was the thing that made Social Network interesting was the trial. If you took the trial out of the Social Network, it's just like some guy starting a company and it does well. Who cares? And that's exactly what the Apple movie is. Like, it's like, he's got his demons or whatever like that, but it's all just because he's a prick.
What are his demons that like?
Well, that no one gets along with him, or that he's like gets cancer, or that his daughter can't communicate with him, and like there's all this like shit where it's like that would I guess that might be interesting if like you were Steve Jobs, but it's not interesting to just watch.
Dude, let me tell you something. That's not interesting at all.
Right?
You know why? Because like if your demons are that like nobody can get along with you and you're mean to your children, then like your demon is that you're an asshole. Like it's not like, oh, you know what, I have addiction, but I'm still like a very nice person, or like he has these moral failings.
Well, in the case of like the Social Network, like I mean, it was kind of fascinating because like you didn't know how much of a sociopath Mark Zuckerberg was. Like was he did he actually steal things? Did he actually not? Did he was he really smart? Was he just like, clever at fucking people over? It's like there's all these like sort of unanswered questions. Whereas like in this movie, you're like, yeah, I know that at some point he's going to get cancer or no, but that didn't even like sorry, no spoilers, but like
don't tell me if he dies in the end.
Yeah, well, and it almost cuts off before then, but like I just like I didn't buy Fassbender like not once during that movie did I say like, holy shit, like that's Michael Fassbender and he's doing like Steve Jobs. He sounds so much like him. Like he's just doing Michael Fassbender, and like that's not that impressive. Like
I liked him better when he was like fucking like a sex addict.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if he wants to swing his big dick around, like then go for it. But and especially like for a Danny Boyle movie, like they're like usually like he's pretty good at like at least like inventing drama where there wasn't.
That would be a great review if someone said, "Oh yeah, Michael Fassbender's performance in this, he was more lifelike as an android in Prometheus."
Exactly.
So wait, you know what? We didn't get our.
Well, and this comes from my wife too. Part of the problem too is that like Steve Jobs isn't a good-looking, sexy guy, and Michael Fassbender is a fucking good-looking, sexy guy.
Isn't it like fucking? It's got to be one of those things. Like supposedly in the movie Moneyball, like that guy who
Brad Pitt played.
Okay, well here's the thing: the guy like Brad Pitt played Billy Bean, and Billy Bean's like, yeah, I think he really captures my essence.
But guess what? He doesn't at all.
But on the other side of that, like the Jonah Hill character, the guy he was playing, I think is Paul Provenza or something like that. But that guy was mad that they cast Jonah Hill because he's like, I'm not a fucking disgusting wide body.
You gave the role of me to like the slovenly Jew in Hollywood.
Dude, like I've never smoked pot in my life. But it's like, yeah, on the other side, like Billy Bean's like, well, I thought they did a good job casting it. Yeah.
That's right. That's pretty brilliant.
So
Like, Art Howe must be puzzled at this point, where it's like, they thought Philip Seymour Hoffman, really? That fucking like heroin addict?
are you trying to say that I'm going to overdose on heroin? All right, wait a minute. We didn't get our predictions for Best Picture. What are you going to take?
Oh, Best Picture.
I think it's between The Revenant and Spotlight.
Yeah, you know what? I think Revenant wins. I would sort of like to see something else win. I would definitely not like to see The Martian win. But like, I think, yeah, you know, it's passable.
Good enough. I'm going to take Spotlight just to make better radio. I'll tell you what. If Bridge of Spies fucking wins, I'll do a podcast naked.
Stay tuned for our next episode from Baker Beach.
Okay, so other Best Actor nominees: Bryan Cranston as Trumbo.
No chance.
I never knew that Dalton Trumbo made meth, but go ahead.
Trumbo.
Matt Damon for The Martian.
Yeah. You know what? Like he was fine in it, but like I didn't like what they made him say.
The thing is, like, he's such a fucking Boston douchebag. It's like, they'll be like, you know, douches in space.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this part of Mars to be just like Southie.
I'm gonna put the Dunkin' Donuts over there.
Like, we're gonna set up the scratch ticket stand. And finally, Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant. Okay, yeah. He's the odds-on favorite. He's gonna win.
Yeah. Like I think I saw that like the Vegas odds are like 1 to 10 or something. Like you have to bet an obscene amount of money just to make like $100. Like yeah, it's like you know, here mortgage your house and we'll give you $5 if you're right.
So DiCaprio is going to win it. Like I read some article. Someone posted an article about how Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie was basically trying to live like a frontier man. So at some points he was like sleeping with his horses to keep warm. And, like, you know, in the stable where the horse shits and stuff. And it's like, dude, like, just give him the fucking Oscar so he can knock the shit off. And he can go back to doing, like, fucking, like, blockbusters.
Like, do you think that actually happened? Or do you think it's possible that, like, Leonardo DiCaprio and, like, Iñárritu or whatever like that, like, sit together and they're like, okay, we're going to make this movie out in the middle of nowhere. We can say we did anything. Like, yeah, it's like, I know, like, I'm going to, like, don't worry. There's going to be, like, heated trailers everywhere we are. But, like, if you could, like, make up some shit about how you had to, like, you know, suck your own dick for warmth or whatever, like, you'd win an Oscar, I bet.
Also, does any of us really believe that? Like, okay, maybe it's, like, something that they put out there, but really, Leo, you're like, sleeping in cow shit or whatever. Like, it's like, dude, like, you...
And then you expect, like, the hottest models in the world to, like, date you.
Right, it's like, you have been living this fucking top-notch life for a while. I don't think... He'd be like, oh, for my craft, I'm going to go sleep in a stable. It's like, he's going to be like, room service.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why isn't there a Hilton built here right now?
So let's go bang these other ones out. Best actress, Brie Larson for The Room.
She's probably going to win.
Charlotte Rampling for 45 years. Charlotte Rampling gets the Who the Fuck Is That award this year.
Didn't she play Mrs. Garrett on Facts of Life?
Yeah, she gets the Who the Fuck Is That and what fucking movie is that?
It's like, who and what?
Kate Blanchett for Carol.
I'm Carol.
Saoirse Ronan for Brooklyn.
Right.
She's great. She's a great young actress.
Yeah.
She was in Hannah.
Uh-huh.
And she was also in that Peter Jackson film. The
Rings?
Lovely Bones.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know what? And that's probably the best movie about someone murdering kids.
Oh, I'd put it like 12th or 13th.
And Jennifer Lawrence for Joy. Jennifer Lawrence is definitely not going to win.
I don't know. Like, did you see that movie?
No,
it was terrible,
dude.
Like, I mean, it was. I shouldn't say it was terrible, but like it was not Academy Award worthy on any level.
Why is David O. Russell like just determined to build this shrine to Jennifer Lawrence?
Oh God, I know, and Bradley Cooper for that reason.
Yeah, like what the fuck are you guys like? Okay, I get it. You got a crush on her.
Yeah. That's great. Like David Lynch really liked Laura Dern too, but like he didn't like fucking creep her out by putting her like in 8 movies in a row.
Right. So I'm going to go with Brie Larson because she's awesome in Room, and she's very attractive.
I've heard that she has a really good odds of sort of replicating a Anne Hathaway sort of acceptance speech where like she might say something stupid. Oh, and like Leo DiCaprio might say something off the charts, like sort of crazy too, because like he's very into like weird Indian causes and stuff like that too. So like
somebody was saying, okay, like no, well, let's not do any more like predictions because like best supporting. Who do you have in the best live animated short film foreign direction?
Donald Duck.
So, but here's the other thing people were saying. So there's a boycott of the Oscars,
right?
Because there's not a whole lot of black nominees, right?
And it's being hosted by Chris Rock.
And it's being hosted by Chris Rock,
which should be very interesting.
And a lot of people were saying, yeah, actually, I bet Chris Rock. This is a perfect setup for Chris Rock.
It really is. Like and I'm sure he probably is aware of like the sort of magnitude of it and like how much attention will be paid to what he says.
Oh, of course, and he's got the mic, so he can do whatever he wants.
Exactly. I'm really thankful that Billy Crystal isn't hosting this year.
We'll bring out the
it would be a bad year for that.
Dust off the old Jew.
Or even Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg would be a whiter choice, I think, than Billy Crystal at this point.
Didn't we had a friend in L.A. who said that, like, yeah, all these old Jewish, like, voters for the Academy Awards, they don't see any of the fucking movies. Like, their average age is, like, 73.
Right.
And he was, like, used to joke that, like, the most surprising thing ever in Oscar history is when Whoopi Goldberg won for Ghost. Like, all these old people just voted because their last name is Goldberg.
Right,
and they're like, what? Oh, what? Oh, my God.
What have we done?
So people are saying that, like, DiCaprio, this is going to be the year that Leonardo DiCaprio wins.
Right.
But it's also going to be the year that's not going to be remembered for him winning. It's going to be remembered for the boycott. And, like, a lot of people aren't going to watch. And so he's just going to get up there in the most insignificant year and, like, tell his little story about whatever his fucking, like, cause is.
Right. Like, so we're in agreement, like, then that do you think Iñárritu will win director?
Yeah.
So, like, that's a pretty big deal to win 2 times in a row.
Yeah. Did he win? Did he win for?
Yeah. Like,
did he know? Or was it? Who did? Like these Mexican directors. I mean, they're amazing. Iñárritu and who's the other guy?
Gravity guy.
Yeah. Corazon.
Yeah. Cuarón.
Cuarón. And then there's Del Toro over in the corner.
Making movies about robots and such.
Look, when those 3 guys started making movies, I was like, man, like Mexico is killing it in the fucking directing game. I was like, this is just going to be a thing now, like with all these great Mexican directors. And like since then, it's just been them.
That's enough.
So how about this? Okay, so what do you think about the boycott thing, though? Because like I kind of feel like, okay, I understand. Okay, clearly there's an element of racism in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
But don't you also kind of feel like if you are going into this, first off, award shows are bullshit.
Right.
But if you're going into an award show thinking that it's based on merit, like it's kind of hard to argue that you're not being represented.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean? I understand. Like I fully believe that, like, it's absurd that.
Well, I think it's a racist system, but it's not necessarily a racist only against black system. Like it's racist against all other races that aren't white, and so like you could like that's what makes it kind of difficult is like you could I guess you can sort of like push for like, hey, you have to like get more like African American nominees or something like that, but it's like that doesn't really address the overall issue. Like, but if that just like sort of forces inclusion of one of the maybe 20 races that you're omitting or like not paying enough attention to, but even that's like sort of like so vague. It's like, oh, you guys aren't paying quite enough attention to them as you're considering your vote, and it's like, well, that's almost unattainable in a weird way.
But if you enter into it saying that this is all based on merit, I feel like you can't complain that you're underrepresented.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like saying, okay, there are 32 football teams in the NFL. They've had over 50 Super Bowls. The fact that Cleveland and Detroit have never made a Super Bowl, that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's based on merit. So, like, and like, it sounds like I'm being rude here, but it's like, even I mean, in football, like those two teams have never been to the Super Bowl. In the past, like African American actors and actresses have won, and they have been included, but they haven't in the last 2 years.
And they're voting members.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so Jamie Foxx said today that, which is probably, what he said is probably worse than what I'm saying, but he said that if the black community wants to have more representation in the Oscars, they have to be better actors. Which is a really rude thing coming from him, because he's like standing there with his Oscar in his hand.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, well, if Will Smith was as good as me, there wouldn't be a problem here, But that's the other thing. It's like the people who are like boycotting it. It's like, is the Academy really going to be like, oh my God, Jada Pinkett Smith's not coming?
Right.
Like, you haven't sniffed an Oscar.
Nice.
So it's a hard one, because and at the same time where I do believe like maybe Will Smith deserved it, but
Sure.
like Will Smith would kind of, if I was Will Smith and I didn't get nominated for an Oscar, I would be embarrassed to claim racism.
Yeah. Especially when I think a lot of people agreed that wasn't like a great movie or anything. Like, I mean, like, yeah, it was certainly
Concussion.
sold as one, like Concussion or whatever. But
you just come across like you're throwing a tantrum when you're just
yeah.
like, hey, you know what? I don't get to win all the time.
Right.
It's like there's something about being graceful, and when things don't go your way.
Exactly.
All right, let's take a break. That was a really good Oscar thing, and we'll come back and we'll wrap it up from the Vestry.
Sweet.
Do you want to say anything else about the Oscars?
Cops' lives matter.
Okay.
Hashtag.
And also and we'll come back and Andrew will tell us who he would do a drag show as. All right, This is SF Barkast. We'll be back from the Vestry. All right, and we are back. Andrew, good to have you back.
The Vestry. Yes, thank you.
Happy to be back in the good old US of A.
You know what? It was very hot and humid, and I am a very unpleasant person when it gets above a certain heat and humidity, and I feel like my wife is the same way. So we both just fight. Like,
good thing you didn't go to the equator.
Yeah, exactly. Good thing you didn't go to the equator and then 8,000 feet in the air, even closer to the sun.
At any point when you were in Colombia, did you think, man, I really kind of miss political candidates talking a load of shit?
So, I really miss the good old days around here of available cocaine.
A presidential debate in Colombia is just like a street fight, right? A knife fight. Okay, one other thing I wanted to ask you. By the way, do you have a person you're going to do a drag show for as?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You had the whole break to think of it.
I know.
You dicked around.
How about...
You're a tall guy. There are no 6'8" fucking women. Are you going to do Brittany Griner?
That's right. Yeah, all I can think of is I don't know, maybe Nancy Sinatra or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, or I saw you really kill it at karaoke one night doing Ethel Merman. So I think, or maybe you could do Phyllis Diller.
The world is clamoring for a quality Ethel Merman drag queen.
I know, because all the other ones just are not they're
substandard.
So coming up is the end of this month. This is actually a leap year.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew, so we have an extra day. What are you going to do with your extra day of your life, February 29th?
I'm going to waste it.
I'll probably beat off all day.
Yeah.
Really, carpe diem.
I might try to catch up on Amazing Race of vinyl or something.
I'll watch a little bit more of Pretty Little Liars. And also, when I was in the bathroom, I noticed they have a poster for Lita Ford is going to perform here at the chapel. So,
oh, good Christ. I didn't realize that was coming up.
Which answers the question, is Lita Ford alive?
Yeah, right.
And at least until she plays here, she is.
The flyer also answers the question, what did Lita Ford look like 30 years ago? But it does not answer the question, what does she look like today?
Right.
Or sound like.
All right, so you want to just go into what do you think about what's your final analysis, Phil Joannou, of this bar?
Too expensive for one.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I don't like to fault the neighborhood for a bar because it's not really something within their control.
But you're going to make an exception.
No, not necessarily, but crowd-wise, not exactly thrilled with the type of scumbags we've been surrounded by. No, the guy from Canada excluded.
The guy from Canada's going to listen. He just
That's right. He taught me a valuable thing about hosers, so he will forever be a prince in my book.
You don't want him to take his toque off and stomp on it.
Exactly. I don't want him to hork my clothes.
Yeah, actually, like this place is. I feel like this place is fine.
Yeah.
I've eaten here. I had the brunch here, and it was actually really good.
Oh, cool.
Overpriced.
Yeah.
But like that's the fucking nature of the beast. I'll say one thing. I love the interior of this place.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, like the big wooden exposed beams. And like if you ever get a chance to go to a show here, it's a great small venue.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah,
Although here's the kind of thing, when this place opened up, I didn't know. Here I'm going to be talking out of my ass, for a change. But so I don't know who owns this place, but the first person who performed here was, okay, we need to christen this room. Let's have Elvis Costello.
Holy
So
shit.
it's you can see that room. It's not that big. And Elvis Costello did a couple shows here.
Wow.
So it's I feel like whoever owns this place has to be connected.
He's like, Dad, get Elvis Costello.
Yeah. Wasn't there some story about there's an Italian basketball team, and the guy who owned it was this super rich billionaire, and his son's favorite player was Dominique Wilkins. So when Dominique Wilkins was kind of ramping down his career, they gave him this enormous amount of money just to come and play in Italy for 1 year because his fucking spoiled brat kid wanted to see his fucking favorite player.
He's like, I bought you a whole island. I bought you restaurants give you gold. What do you want? He's like, human highlight film.
Exactly. Can you make Dominique jump up and down for me? So, actually, like I said, the room here, the acoustics are great. If you ever come here for a show, definitely go up into the chapel or the crow's nest, wherever the choir would sing. And it's really nice up there. Is it a place that I hang out at, even though I live down the street? No. What I want?
Oh God, no.
What I feel like I want to talk to any non-Canadian person in here? Probably not.
That's okay. But as far as Canadians go, this is the best bar I've ever been to.
Dude, we're big in Canada.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so you have any plugs, Andrew?
I don't know. There's a few new shows that have come out. Certainly, Louis C.K.'s Herb and whatever his name is.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's fun to watch.
Do you have any shows? Because I'm looking for a new show to get into.
Well, that's a good question. There's supposed to be a good show called Love. It's Paul Rust and a couple other decent people involved.
Okay.
I think that's on Netflix or something.
The show's called Love?
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like you wouldn't want to have this totally general.
Oh, I know.
It's that's some comic that does a joke about the breakfast cereal life. It's hey, why don't you get over yourself? It's this cereal. The only way we can describe how awesome this cereal is, it's the experience of life.
It is everything about being alive in wheat form.
Why don't you just call the show the greatest show of all time? Yeah, I started watching 11/22/63, which is a Hulu show about with James Franco, where he goes. It's such a stupid show, but it's it has to do he goes back in time to try to prevent the Kennedy assassination. But
okay.
the great thing about
that sounds fun, actually.
well, hey, here's the thing, man. I'm totally on board.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a guy going back to stop the Kennedy assassination show, and I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not in this reality.
Not unless I got a bullet in my head.
Unless Lee Harvey Oswald comes back and shoots me. But it's such a hokey show because, like, the great thing about this type of sci-fi show is they don't explain anything. Like, you know,
Right.
at least in, like, Back to the Future, you're like, oh, he modified a DeLorean and he has to go to a certain mile an hour.
Right.
And then he goes back
This
in
one,
time.
they're just like, time travel exists. Okay.
No, in this one, like, the James Franco goes to his favorite diner, and the guy who owns it, played by not Chris Conley, who's the guy who he won an Oscar for American Beauty.
Oh, wait,
Chris-
Kevin Spacey?
No, he was the neighbor, the
Oh,
redneck
shit.
neighbor.
I can't remember.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
His name's like Chris something.
Yeah. Cooper?
Chris Cooper.
There we go.
So Chris Cooper owns this diner, and here's how they explain the time travel. Chris Cooper says to James Franco, "Hey, go out back into that room." And he goes out back, and he's in like 1960. Like that, and then they're like, and they're like, oh, he's like, oh,
No fuss, no muss.
so that you have a broom closet that brings you back in time. It's like,
Okay.
no.
Can we get a backstory about that a little bit?
They didn't do anything. Like, you know, even if it doesn't make any sense, someone would be like, oh, look, this is a purely natural wormhole that happens to go back to a very specific time. No, none of that. They're like, the broom closet goes to the 1960s.
Where's Neil deGrasse Tyson when you need him?
Exactly.
So, actually, barn doors couldn't contain that kind of.
But actually, there's a kind of a cool thing about that where, like, once you realize that they're not going to explain anything, you have this feeling where it's like, well, at least I didn't waste time with that.
yeah, exactly. Boy, that would have been boring.
It's like, let's just get to the action. So I'm watching that, and one of my friends started watching Pretty Little Liars.
Oh my God.
So I started watching it, and I was like, this is not.
I'm giving this 20 or 30 more episodes to stop being so stupid.
No, exactly. It's like I was like, this is clearly not like my type of show.
Right.
But then I just keep going back to it because I'm just like, I want to see what happens.
Right.
So there's got to be something. There's got to be something great about, like, okay, even though people who are watching it know that it's not that good,
Right.
but they keep watching it. It's like it's like fucking like more addictive than Coke. Oh, other thing I'll say about this bar, for whatever, if you pay extra because like the drinks here are expensive,
Right.
But they play good music here.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
That's for sure.
I would say also that I watched the pilot episode anyway, or the pilot 2-hour thing of Vinyl.
Of what?
Of Vinyl on
I heard
the
that's
HBO
terrible.
show. You know what? Like the first hour of it was god awful, and like I was so ready to bail on it. And like the last hour actually was there was a lot of twists that I wasn't expecting.
Well, maybe I'll start watching it. It's just
Yeah.
the thing is,
It's worth checking out just because like I feel like the first episode anyway, the 2-hour thing, it's a semi-decent Martin Scorsese movie. Like he directed it, like he
all the previews to it, like it just seemed like such. I mean, it's Mick Jagger, Martin Scorsese,
Yeah.
and it's about
And it's just like it wasn't this fucking great when everybody did coke and was assholes to each
Yeah.
other.
And it's like it's about like New York rock scene, and they have like these like speeches where like that guy's just like, when's the last time that rock and roll really made you wanna fucking jump up and down and fuck? And you're just like, you know what? This is just like one big circle jerk for old
Yeah,
men.
totally.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
It's
It's
like, yeah, we get it. Like, and you know what, Scorsese? You weren't into the Stooges when they were
Right.
fucking playing CBGBs. You were probably fucking listening to fucking Van Morrison
Right.
or like the band. It's like, stop
Like-
acting like you were cool in the 70s.
You were listening to like Bernard Herrmann do like the score for Vertigo or whatever like that, and you're like, yeah, fuck, rock and roll music sucks. Like it'll never catch on. Like,
Right. It's just like, you know, it just seems like baby boomer self-indulgence,
Yeah,
you know?
but like that's the thing is like the first hour of it, like I was totally thinking that, and then like things actually started to happen, and I was like, oh shit, you know what, like you know, this is being handled very well, and it's kind of interesting. But like, I mean, I still reserve the right to call it shitty after a couple more episodes.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, shouldn't
Okay,
we
so
all?
before we do you have any? This Tuesday is Super Tuesday in the
Ooh,
and so basically they say that the nominations will be determined,
solidified, like by then.
I mean, I think it's a little bit, a little more foggy on the Republican side.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure that Hillary Clinton will wrap up like the nomination, at least like perception wise. It would be like a really hard battle for Bernie to like recoup from there. By the way, I saw you post something about like Bernie Sanders supporters. Here's the thing. I am voting for Bernie Sanders myself.
Me too.
But let me tell you something. Yeah, Bernie Sanders supporters are just fucking intolerable.
They're little babies. Like it's like they don't understand the concept of like, oh, you can like something 90% and then like their opponent 80% and then and feel okay like if they lose. But like they don't buy into that at all. They're just like, you know what? Either like Bernie Sanders or I'll fucking sit out the election and vote for Trump. It's like, well, then you're a fucking crybaby asshole.
I know, exactly. Like, all these people were like, if Bernie Sanders doesn't get elected, and he's not going to get elected, they're going to go off the grid and live in the fucking forest. It's like, you know what? That would be the best thing for society. Get the fuck out of here.
Just to watch you freeze to death in the forest.
Yeah, just fucking go. Like, like you're. And here's the thing: like they have like no appreciation of the great, the great advances that Bernie Sanders has made in this election.
Oh yeah,
he's
totally,
pulled Hillary Clinton to the left.
Right.
He had to make her be more progressive.
It's like they're sort of like pushing the pendulum or whatever like that. And as soon as it has any resistance, they're like, well, fuck it then. I'm just walking away.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, that's not. The point is to push it as far as you can, not be a quitting little baby.
It's like all these like people were like having shit fits after the New Hampshire primary because of the superdelegates.
Oh yeah.
One thing is like, hey, you know what? It's been like that for a long time,
Exactly.
And like now that like it goes
this
against,
didn't sneak up on anybody, like
right? And that now that like it fucking goes against the candidate you like, you're like, oh, this is total. It's a total conspiracy. They're trying to fuck over.
It's sort of like it shows people's ignorance because it's like they treat it as it was something that like just appeared. And it's like, no, this has always existed. And they're like,
right.
Well, I didn't know about it, so God damn it, like I wouldn't have like supported Bernie Sanders if I knew he was going to lose.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, like, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Bernie Sanders' speech at the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's going to be fucking awesome because, like, the greatest thing on their side that the right ever did, and the worst thing on the progressive side, my side, is that like somewhere in the '80s, the right demonized the word liberal.
Yeah.
Like suddenly, like liberal was a pejorative term,
right?
And
Bernie
socialist
Sanders even worse.
Yeah, and Sanders shows up, and he just fucking like says, no, like we're not progressive enough.
Right.
All these, so it's like like we've basically taken that all back.
Right, but like I mean, like, and that's the thing is like that's how the system works. Is someone like Bernie Sanders gets up, makes a great speech at the convention, and then 4 years later, like either him or another candidate that feels the same way builds on that momentum, like the expectation that like, hey, here's this thing I just discovered that I like, so everyone's gonna fucking like it because I'm a millennial and I get what I want. And it's like, no, you asshole, that's not how it works.
Yeah, so like if you're a Bernie Sanders crazy supporter, I want to let you know that I'm in the same boat as you, but I wish you would jump out.
That's right. And hopefully, eventually, you learn the meaning of nuance, you idiot.
One other thing that somebody said on a podcast that I was listening to, that so California, the largest state in the union,
I've heard of it.
It's basically like nobody campaigns here.
Yeah.
Because it's always going to go blue, and like basically the only candidates only look at California as an ATM. Right. They come here to raise money.
Yeah.
And then they take off. Someone said that like in the Republican side, California has the last primary, and like because it has so many delegates, it actually might be in play. It'd be like the first time in probably my lifetime that California would be in play, because it'll probably be Cruz or Rubio who will be behind Trump. But if they can sweep California, and I believe it's a winner-take-all delegate, then we're gonna see a lot of like campaign. Like when I went home to Massachusetts, like the television airwaves were just like littered, like wall-to-wall campaign ads. John Kasich, all people like Chris Christie, people you would never even fucking think about like voting for. But like you never see any of that shit in California. Oh yeah, because they just don't want to waste their fucking money.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it was great.
The fact that like it might come into play like for California's primary.
Yeah, we'll see.
Whatever. All right. So, anything else?
No.
I think we had here's
for
the thing.
God's sakes.
Sorry we went a little long, but like Andrew and I haven't been together in a while, so we had to like make up.
A lot of catching up to do.
All right. Apparently the band is like whatever, getting their shit together.
Yeah, I guess they didn't like our Academy Award preview.
Yeah, exactly. They're playing us out.
Exactly. So, hey guys, mowed along.
All right. This is SF Barkast. I'm Jeff Cleary.
I'm Andrew Louder.
And we'll see you next time.